I'm Birdy Galaxy and welcome to the Lunatic Fringe Astrology. This video is about Pluto. Pluto has been in Capricorn for the past 15 years. Last year we had a little glimpse of what Pluto in Aquarius is going to be like, and this year we're also going to have a little preview of Pluto in Aquarius before it moves into Aquarius for the next 20 years. So this Pluto movement is very impactful on your life, on the long-term aspects of your life. Depending on your rising sign, this Pluto movement out of Capricorn, where it's been for 15 years, and into Aquarius, where it will be for 20 years, is a big deal. So if you want to know what that means for you, based on your rising sign, stay tuned. So we're going to talk about Pluto today, and Pluto only. There are other planets in Capricorn, and if you're interested in what all the other planets in Capricorn, what this Capricorn party means for you, check out my January 2024 horoscopes. I will link them below, and if I can figure out how to link them in the video, I'll do that too. But this video, we're just going to be talking about Pluto, and specifically Pluto's movements starting in 2008, but specifically over 2023 to 2024, and how that's been affecting everyone. This has been a very intense time for everyone. This planet has been in one single sign for 15 years. So if for all of us, if we can think back, what major theme has been kind of the main overarching theme in your life for the past 15 years, and where do you feel like you're moving to, that something that is going to be sort of solidified for the next 20 years. Okay, so I'm going to start out by giving you some dates of the Pluto movement, and this might get a little confusing. I'm going to put up a graphic with those dates that you can screenshot. I will try to list them in the description below, but I'm going to go over some dates, and then I'm going to talk about each rising sign and what this means for you by rising sign. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Pluto Generations. We all know our generation in a pop culture sense, like I'm a Gen X, maybe you're a millennial, maybe you're a boomer, what have you. We all know this generation aspect to our lives, but Pluto, because Pluto stays in a sign for so long, Pluto creates generations. I'm going to give you some dates for the Pluto generations at the end of the video, and then we'll talk about the new Aquarius babies that are coming into the world. So if you're interested in that, then stay tuned to the end of the video. I will try to put chapters, or whatever you call it, some timestamps in the description if I can figure out how to do that for each sign, but I'm only going to give you a little brief for each sign, so it shouldn't be too long. So let's start out with the movement of Pluto over the past couple of years. Each planet and each sign has a matching or a corresponding tarot card. So Pluto is the Judgment card, and I have the board set up for Aries Rising just because that is the default beginning of the zodiac. So as I go through with each rising sign, I will change it up, but just as we talk about these Pluto dates, I'm going to use Aries Rising. And then I will talk about them as we get into your rising sign. So since 2008. In 2008, Pluto moved out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn. It's been there for 15 years. Last year, in March of 2023, Pluto crossed that threshold from Capricorn into Aquarius. And it stayed there for 2 months. Until May. So from March until May of 2023, Pluto was in Aquarius, giving us just a little taste of what we might be feeling for the next 20 years. Now it didn't even get out of 0 degrees. Each sign has 30 degrees, starts with 1 degree. By the time it gets to the end of the sign, it's reached the 29th degree. Starts at 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So Pluto had just barely gotten into Aquarius. It was still in 0 degrees in May of 2023 when it went retrograde. So now it's going back. Then in June of 2023, retrograde Pluto crossed back over that threshold again into Capricorn. Now in October of 2023, Pluto went direct. So it's moving forward towards Aquarius again. Now on January 21st, 2024, so coming up here in just a week or so, on the 21st, Pluto in direct motion will cross back over into Aquarius once again. So giving us yet another taste of Aquarius, of Pluto in Aquarius, of what we might be experiencing until 2044. So Pluto is in Aquarius until May of this year. On May 2nd, when Pluto reaches 2 degrees of Aquarius, so it'll have gotten a little bit further in this time. It got past 0, past 1, and it's into 2 degrees. Again, it goes retrograde. So now retrograde Pluto is moving back towards that threshold, back towards Capricorn, and on September 2nd, it re-enters Capricorn one last time. That's it. This is the last time that we are going to experience Pluto in Capricorn in our lifetimes. So, retrograde Pluto is back in Capricorn. On October 12th, 2024, Pluto goes direct again. So now it's moving back towards Aquarius once more. And on November 19th, this is a key date, November 19th, 2024, Pluto will have crossed into Aquarius once again for the final time in our lifetimes. It will never go back into Capricorn as long as we live. It will someday, but not as long as we're alive, unless you're somehow immortal, I don't know. But Pluto will cross over into Aquarius, where it will stay until 2044, until January of 2044. So for the next 20 years, the house that Pluto moves into, whichever is your Aquarius house, that's where you're going to be feeling this energy of really laying waste to everything that you've known. And that sounds a little scary, but Pluto really just kind of comes in and says, I don't have time or room for any bullshit. Anything that is not serving you, anything that is wasteful, anything that is just not working for you, it's gone. Not only is it moving into a different house, but it's moving out of Capricorn, which is the sign of authority and discipline and structure and sometimes self-enslavement, into the house of Aquarius, which is innovation and your unique self and being able to stand out in a crowd. Science, advancement, as well as community and humanity. So these are very, very different energies that we're all going to be experiencing. Okay, so let's get into each sign. Aries Rising. Pluto has been in Capricorn in your 10th house, the house of career, of public image, of recognition for an achievement that you have done, some kind of goal that you've reached. So for the past 15 years, there has been a lot of energy and a lot of movement, maybe even upheaval and crisis, maybe revelation, hopefully all of these things for your benefit in your house of career, of public image. Now, this doesn't have to be a good image. Maybe you've built a bad reputation for yourself over the past 15 years. This can be the culmination of years of work and work and work and work, and you finally reach the top. You finally hit a goal. So that's the major theme that's been going on for you for the past 10 years, or 15 years, I'm sorry. And if you watch my last video for the January horoscopes, you'll see that there is a lot of energy in that house right now. So you might be feeling this like last blast. This is a finale energy because Pluto is moving on into Aquarius. We just had a new moon just 2 days before I'm filming this video in Capricorn. So both Sun and Moon were in this house, along with other planets. Mars and Venus are there too. And this is really sort of showing you now or never. It's now or never. Now's the time to pull the trigger. Now's the time to do something new. This new moon brought out new energy. because as of the end of 2024, Pluto will be moving on. Pluto moves on into your house of community, your house of friendships, social circles, of high aspirations and dreams and goals. Pluto may be ripping through your connections, your social connections, your group dynamics, but it's revealing things that you need to know about yourself over the next 20 years. This is deepening your transformation, and it's empowering you in these social circles, in your group connections, in your collaborative aspirations. So Aries Rising, over the next 20 years, you might be challenged to evolve in your collective contributions to society, as well as how you define your role in the community, in your society as a whole, in your social circles, in your collaborative or group efforts. So Aries, if you want to go deeper into this read, check out the January 2024 horoscopes in my playlist so you can see what else is going on in this house and what's going on opposite of this house and alongside this house in the whole neighborhood. Okay, Taurus. So Pluto has been in Capricorn in your 9th house for the past 15 years. Your 9th house is the house of education, specifically higher education or academia. This is the house of philosophy, beliefs, your religious beliefs, your perspective on global, on how you fit into the world, the global perspective. This is the house of foreign relations, which means it could be you communicating or having some sort of relationship with someone from an area not from where you are, or maybe you're traveling long distance. This is typically known as the house of long distance travel or travel overseas. So all of those things may have played a major role in your life, Taurus Rising, for the past 15 years. This could have brought deep transformations and profound experiences relating to your beliefs, relating to your higher education or your academic situation or experience. This could have brought deep experiences relating to your beliefs and your philosophy, and it might have urged you to have this major internal reassessment and to evolve in these areas of your life, to evolve in your philosophy or in your academic pursuits, or in long distance travel or traveling to places that are foreign to you, maybe for the purpose of academia. So that's what's been going on with you for the past 15 years, Taurus. Now, by the end of this year, by the end of 2024, once Pluto has made these last couple of jumps back and forth over this threshold, it will be staying in Aquarius for 20 years. Now, Aquarius is your 10th house. Your 10th house is your house of career, of reputation, of public image, of recognition for achievement, for something that you've worked really hard for. This is reaching your goal. So over the next 20 years, Taurus Rising, you might experience some deep transformations in your career and in your public image or your public reputation. This can lead to you having a major redefinement of your life path and of your career aspirations or your image aspirations, how you want to be seen in the world and how you want to be recognized. Okay, Taurus, if you want to know more about this, go deeper into this read, then check out your January 2024 horoscope. You can find that in the playlists. Okay, Gemini Rising, Pluto has been in your 8th house for the past 15 years. The 8th house is a psychic house. This is the house of deep personal transformation, of personal intimacy, as well as shared resources. This is the house of deep personal transformation. So Gemini Rising, over the past 15 years with Pluto, Pluto is the ruler of the 8th house. So Pluto has been at home, which really amplifies this energy. So Gemini Risings, if you've watched my videos before, you know I'm a Gemini Rising as well. So I sympathize and empathize with everything you Gem Risings are going through. I would love to hear in the comments how this is affecting you. But the deep, profound transformations that all Gemini risings have been going through over the past 15 years have been very intense, and they've really brought up they've really brought into focus whatever issues are around shared resources, what issues are around your psychology and your psyche and how you see yourself as a human being and as a person unto yourself, as well as with a partner, especially when it comes to intimacy, personal intimacy and shared intimacy. This is a house of psyche and money. So a lot of times these issues that we face with shared resources with a partner can play into our intimate relationships, either for good or for bad. This has also been a time when you may have experienced some profound insights into your own psyche and to your own past traumas, your own triggers, and to why you do the things that you do and why you are who you are. That's been tough. It's been a lot. It's been deep. Finally, by the end of this year, I'm sorry, I'm still in 2023 mode. By the end of 2024, we will be fully in Pluto in Aquarius, which is the 9th house for Gemini rising. So this house is the house of academia. This is the house of higher education, of beliefs, of philosophy. This is, I call it the house of foreign affairs, whether that means you are traveling long distance to places that are foreign to you, places that you might need special passage, like a passport to get to, traveling overseas, going long distances. Generally, if you're going overseas, you're going long distances. Or this could be you having some sort of relationship or connection, especially if it's on an academic level or a philosophical or religious level with people who are foreign to you or from other countries. Or you are maybe going abroad to go to school, something to that effect, something to that nature. So there is going to be, over the next 20 years for you, Gemini rising, you might experience some profound shifts in your beliefs, in your higher education aspects or your academia situation. Your philosophical outlook on life could be changing due to these academic situations. So maybe you're going back to school, or maybe you're teaching something. Now, this next 20 years is really going to prompt some deep exploration and evolution of your intellectual pursuits as well as your philosophical pursuits. And this is going to have a deep impact on your perspective on the world, your perspective on other people, how you relate to other people, as well as your interactions with people who are foreign to you or who live differently than you, have a very different culture than you. So, Gemini rising, I don't know about you, but the idea of long distance travel for the next 20 years sounds very exciting to me. Pluto moving out of that house of intimacy and shared resources is a huge relief, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And I love learning, like most Geminis. I love schooling. I don't really necessarily love schooling, but I love learning, and I love academics. I love libraries. I love education. I love books. So that also excites me. Having Pluto in the 9th house for the next 20 years is very exciting to me. And I hope it is for you too. So Gemini, if you want to know more, if you want to get a deeper read onto what's going on for you in January, check out my January 2024 horoscopes in the playlist. Okay, Cancer rising. So Pluto has been in Capricorn in your 7th house for the past 15 years. Your 7th house is the house of relationships, of unions, of partnerships, generally that one-on-one partnership. This could be romantic, this could be a friendship, a best friendship, this could be a business partnership, some kind of one-on-one union. So Pluto being in your house of relationships over the past 15 years has, of course, brought intense and profound experiences to your partnerships, to your unions, to your marriages. This has brought you some challenging power dynamics. So there's been a lot. Pluto is power. Pluto is showing you your personal power. So in the house of relationships, with Pluto bringing out your personal power, that might cause conflict with the person that you're in relationship with, or it might cause benefit to the person that you're in relationship with. That is totally an individual experience that only you will know. But over the past 15 years, there has been a major theme of relationships. And because Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth, there likely has been a death of relationships and a rebirth or a beginning of other relationships. So that has been the theme for you for the past 15 years, Cancer. Now, as we move into the end of 2024, as Pluto makes its way into Aquarius for the last time in our lifetimes, where it will stay for 20 years, this is going to be moving into your house of intimacy, of shared resources, and deep psychic exploration of self. So the 8th house is a transformative house. It's the house of sex. It's a house of passion. It's intimacy. It's a money house and a psychic house. There's a lot going on in the 8th house. So I'm not going to lie, Cancer, you're going to have a pretty profound next 20 years when it comes to personal transformation and how you make connections and experience shared resources with someone. So this deep transformation and intense experiences relating to your shared resources, relating to your emotional connections, and relating to the exploration of your hidden self, maybe your psychic self, or things that have been buried deeply. This is going to be a theme over the next 20 years, sort of digging into that, digging up things that have been hidden deep into your psyche, as well as getting more in touch with your psychic energy and with how you connect with someone on an intimate level. This is going to be a time of really connecting with someone on your shared resource level. Maybe you've combined, after all these 15 years of Pluto being in your relationship house, maybe that relationship is now defined and you're ready to deepen it into a more intimate, transformative experience where you are pulling your resources together. You're really coming together as a single unit. This is the house of intimacy, right? This is connection. This is sex. So the next 20 years is really going to bring a potent energy of regeneration to who you are psychically, to who you are subconsciously, to who you are as an intimate individual, as an intimate human being. This is going to help you to evolve in that personal and intimate realm and that shared resource realm with your partner. So Cancer, it's going to be a very explorative and transformative 20 years for you. If you want to know more about what's happening for you, take a deeper dive into this read, then check out your January 2024 horoscope in the playlists. Okay, Leo Rising, Pluto has been in your 6th house for the past 15 years. The 6th house is the house of the daily grind. This is your work life, your daily life, just the general mundane drudgery that we all have to go through. This is schedules and routines. This is personal health. This is making sure that you feed yourself, breathing, getting exercise, taking care of yourself. This is the 6th house. So over the past 15 years, you may have experienced some ups and downs and some profound transformations and some deep personal experiences in the area of your work life, your daily routines, the monotony of everyday things, just, getting through that drudgery of life, just sort of surviving day to day. Now, these experiences of having some profound changes within your daily life or your work life or your mundane life, this really has prompted some deep exploration of how you need to restructure your life, of how maybe you need to have some more structure and more discipline in your approach to your personal health, in your approach to your daily routines. Maybe you just really in general need to get your shit together so that you're not so disorganized, or so that you have a plan of action. So that has been the theme for the past 15 years. And with all this energy in Capricorn right now, there's a lot of planets there. We just had a new moon a couple days ago. This is sort of the finale. This is the last blast of energy of it's time to make these decisions to just get your daily schedule and your daily routines and your daily life taken care of so that you can move on to other things. So after all these years of transformative energy into your work environment, into your personal daily life and schedule, When Pluto moves on by the end of this year, it will have moved on into Aquarius, which is your 7th house, or your house of relationships, partnerships, unions, marriages. This will bring transformative energies and deep experiences to your partnerships, to your unions, to your companionship. This doesn't have to be romantic. This can be a business partnership. It can be a best friendship. Any kind of one-on-one deep connection that you have with someone. This time over the next 20 years, as Pluto makes its way through Aquarius, you are going to be experiencing deep changes in your relationship dynamics, in your unions, in your partnerships. This will encourage a profound exploration in your approach to relationships, in how you collaborate with others, in how you make these connections with in your one-on-one union, in your marriage, in your partnerships. So Leo Rising, that sounds very exciting. If you want to know more about what's going on for you in January, if you want to take a deeper dive, then check out the full video in my January 2024 horoscopes, and you can find that in the playlist. Okay, Virgo Rising. Pluto has been in your 5th house for the past 15 years. The 5th house is the house of fun and games, of leisure and pleasure, of romance, creativity, of sex, as well as procreation or making children. It's also the house of childlike joy, or really just getting on that the level of unfiltered, unadulterated joy that you would have as an innocent child. It's innocent joy. So Virgo, for the past 15 years, Pluto in this house of creativity, of leisure, of pleasure, of recreation, procreation, and creation, this has really brought transformative energies to your creative self, to this creative self-expression, to romantic pursuits. It's brought some profound shifts to your personal growth, to how you see yourself as an adult versus a child, to how you express yourself on a creative level, on a leisure level, on a pleasure level. So as Pluto moves out of Capricorn into Aquarius, it will be moving into your 6th house, or your house of the daily grind, of your work life, your work environment, your daily routines, mundane things like personal health, taking care of yourself, daily exercise, making sure that you go to the dentist, all these things. This is the energy of the 6th house. So over the next 20 years, you might find that you have some profound experiences and some transformative energy to the daily practices that you go through, or the daily routines that you take on, or your work environment. That work environment, that is going to be a big theme over the next 20 years. You might have some major shifts in your daily health practices, your daily routines, how you take care of yourself on a very basic, earthy, mundane level, at a very human level. This is not a psychic house. This is the very opposite of a psychic house. This is grounded, earth, survival related activities. So over the next 20 years, this is going to prompt some major evolution into your approach to navigation of day-to-day life, navigation of day-to-day tasks, skills, work, etc. Now that sounds a little boring, but this might really bring you some absolute profound shifts and changes that are going to, provide major benefit for you in the future. Getting your ducks in a row, essentially, is the 6th house. Getting everything prepped for what comes next. Virgo is the prepper. Okay, Libra Rising. Pluto has been in your 4th house for the past 15 years. The 4th house is the house of home, family, roots, foundations. It's your past. It's where you come from. So over the past 15 years, you have had some profound transformative shifts and changing energies in this area of home, family, who you are, where you come from, this has prompted deep introspection and maybe even a restructuring of your home life, of your family life, of how you see yourself within that family unit, how you interact with that family unit, or how you identify with it or not. Maybe you have shifted family units. There's a lot of energy going on with who you are, where you come from, who you're related to, how you relate to them, as well as your physical, mundane home, your actual home. Maybe you've had a lot of shifts and changes in your home over the past 15 years, good or bad, both. This energy, like any wave, it's up and down, it's up and down. Sometimes it's moving forward, sometimes it's moving retrograde. So over the past 15 years, you have felt a profound up and down in your area of home, family, roots, foundation, etc. So as Pluto moves on into Aquarius over the next 20 years, yay, lucky you, Libra, it's moving into your house of fun and games, of leisure, pleasure, of recreation, creation, and procreation. So this is the house of creativity. This is play, romance. This is the house ruled by the sun. And the sun is the baby sun child, just this raw sun energy. So the sun is joy, it's success, it's creativity. So when Pluto is in this house, it's bringing out those energies of fun and creativity and joy and just raw, beautiful, lovely, childlike, innocent energy. This is going to bring you, over the next 20 years, a deep transformation in your creative self-expression, in your romantic pursuits, and your pursuits of just joy and fun and pleasure and leisure. This will challenge you to embrace innovation. Aquarius is all about innovation. So as we all move into this Aquarian age, we're all going to be having to embrace more innovative technology. So this is asking you to embrace innovation as well as be more authentic in your creative expression, in your romantic expression, and in how you see yourself as a joyful, childlike creature. Okay, Scorpio rising, Pluto has been in your third house, or your house of mindset, communication, siblings, and local community or neighborhood for the past 15 years. So over those past 15 years, Pluto in this third house has brought out some deep transformative energies and some deep shifts in your communication, in your learning, and in your sibling dynamics or neighborhood dynamics. This has really fostered a deep introspection of your life in these areas, in how you interact with your siblings, how you interact with your neighbors, how you communicate and get your message across to others, as well as how you take on new information, how you learn things. Now, as Pluto moves on into Aquarius, where it will be for the next 20 years, Pluto moves into your fourth house. Your fourth house is the house of home, family, roots, foundation. This is your past. This is the home of the moon and our emotions. Our emotions are deeply tied to our foundation, to our roots, to how we are, how we see ourselves within our family unit. The feeling of belonging, which is what we all long for emotional security. So, Scorpio rising, over the next 20 years, you may see profound energies just really redefining and shifting who you see yourself as relating to your home, your family, your foundation. This can lead to profound shifts in your emotional foundations, in how you connect with those roots, in how you connect with that past, and how that past experience affects your current emotional stability or your current emotional health. So over the next 20 years, there will be some revelations in your sense of security and well-being. There may be some revelations into your family, into who you are, who you thought you were. You might find some major information comes out over the next 20 years that reveals something to you that has a profound shift on your family and home life. Okay, Scorpio rising, if you want to know more, if you want to go deeper into this read, check out my January 2024 horoscopes in the playlists. Okay, Sagittarius Rising, Pluto has been in your second house for the past 15 years. The second house is the house of values, of self-worth, as well as money and possessions. This is the house of personal finances. So Pluto, over the past 15 years, in your second house, in your money house, this is your personal money house, has brought profound transformations and really deep power dynamics related to your financial matters, related to your value, both monetary value as well as self-worth, how you value yourself. This is a house of Venus. Venus is not just about love, but Venus loves money. Venus is about bounty and gain and abundance and fertility. So this Pluto being in your second house has really brought a lot of upheaval to your money-making house, to your resource-building house, to your house of self-sufficiency and your ability to hold possession or lack thereof. So as Pluto moves out of that house, out of Capricorn and into Aquarius, it will be moving into your third house. Your third house is your house of communication, of your mind, how your mind works, your thought processes. This is also the house of siblings and neighbors or local community, local neighborhood. So over the next 20 years, Sagittarius, you may experience profound transformations and deep, intense experiences, evolutionary experiences in your communication styles, in your mental processing, in your sibling relations, in your neighborhood relations. This could foster a deep exploration of your unconventional ideas and your transformative words or communication or dialogue over the next 20 years. So your message, what you have to say, what you have to get out, and the communication that you have to give is important over the next 20 years. Your voice is really going to matter over the next 20 years, Sagittarius Rising. Your connection with your siblings and your neighbors. This is going to be a very important, these are going to be important relationships over the next 20 years. Aquarius is about innovation, so you might need to come up with very interesting ways of communicating. Maybe there's been a challenge for you to communicate. Whatever that is, the next 20 years is going to really foster your unconventional ideas and how you get your message across. So if you want to know more about what's going on for you, Sagittarius Rising, and take a deeper dive into January, check out my January 2024 horoscopes in the playlists. Okay, Capricorn, so as you probably know, Pluto has been in your first house for the past 15 years. The first house is the house of self, of identity, of how you show up in the world. This is how you define yourself in the world. So this is literally how you physically look, how you show up. So over the past 15 years, Capricorn, you may have had profound transformations in self-discovery, in figuring out who you are in this world and how you want to identify and how you want to show up. This past 15-year cycle has challenged you to redefine your identity. This has brought you some significant personal growth. You have undergone some significant changes in how you see not only yourself, but how you see the world. The first house is the world, is the door we come in on. So this is sort of your front door, this first house. That's how you see the world, and everything else is in your periphery. So you being a Capricorn rising, you see the world through a Capricorn filter, which automatically means that you see money through an Aquarian eye, that you communicate with a Piscean tongue, and that your home and family has a very Aryan touch to it. And I mean that as in Aries, not or the other thing. You know, and so on and so forth. So this first house, this is the reason that I do rising sign horoscopes, because your rising sign is your most important sign. This is the perspective that you see the world from. This is where you're coming from. That's your door, your entryway into the world. So with Pluto being in that doorway for the past 15 years, it has really brought some significant and profound changes into how you see yourself, how you identify with the world. So as Pluto moves out of Capricorn and into Aquarius over the next 20 years, this will be moving into your house of money, your house of values and possessions and personal self-worth, both in a monetary sense as well as in an emotional sense. So over the next 20 years, you can expect to experience profound changes and deep transformational experiences relating to financial matters, relating to your values and your self-worth. This can really lead to some radical innovations in your approach to material possessions and to your resources, Capricorn. Aquarius is the innovator, and it's the sign, it's ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is sort of this Uranus kind of comes in and revolutionizes things. It just changes things up a lot. So over the next 20 years, you can expect that energy of major upheavals, major changes, major shifts, major evolutionary growth within your house of how you make money, how you support yourself, how you build material resources, how your possessions, your actual physical possessions, as well as your personal self-worth and value. How much you value yourself, both monetarily and emotionally. So Capricorn, if you want to know more, there's so much going on in your first house in January. We just had a Capricorn new moon. There's still a lot of planets. We're still in Capricorn season. If you want to know more about that, let's take a deep dive with me in your January 2024 horoscope, which you can find in the playlist. Okay, Aquarius. So Pluto has been in your 12th house for the past 15 years. The 12th house is the house of solitude, of sacrifice, of your soul self. This is also the house of hidden enemies and self-destruction. This is the house where you go to be alone. And a lot of times that aloneness can lead to spiritual growth, to major evolution in how you see yourself. This is the last house of the zodiac before we start all over again in the first house. And when Pluto moves on, it will be moving on into your first house. But for now, it is still in your 12th house, and that is literally where we self-destruct. It's where we take apart our mundane self, all the baggage we've picked up as Pluto has moved around from wherever it was when we were born, to now, this is where we shed that skin. And this is where we see ourselves as just our spiritual self, not a human, not a being, not our, mundane selves, but as a spiritual self. So over the past 15 years, with Pluto moving through that 12th house, that deeply introspective house, you probably had profound transformations and introspection influencing your hidden aspects of yourself and your soul self and your spirit self. These are hidden aspects of your psyche which have come out in favor of your spiritual growth. Now, as Pluto moves on into Aquarius, of course, it's in your first house, Aquarius. The first house is the house of self, of identity. This is how you show up in the world. This is literally the door you came through in the world. So this is why I do rising sign horoscopes, because your rising sign is so important to this whole chart. It's not your sun, it's your rising sign that sets up the chart. It's the rising sign that shows you how you came into the world. So you, Aquarius, came into the world through the Aquarian door, which automatically makes your money house a Piscean house. So the way that you approach making money is through a Piscean lens. You communicate with an Aries tongue. Your fourth house is your house of home, is a very Taurus house, and that Taurus likes to be home. Taurus is a homebody. So this rising sign affects everything about your chart. And that is why it's so important to do and to read and to know your rising sign. Anyway, I digress. That's for a whole other video. But so Pluto moving into your first house over the next 20 years, going through that Aquarian sign, is going to bring deep transformation, deep introspection, and major shifts and changes to your personal identity, to how you see yourself, how others see you, how you physically look, as well as how you see the world around you, your perspective on the world. It's almost like closing your front door with one view and opening it up again and being in a completely different view. So this Pluto moving through your first house for the next 20 years is going to bring you on a journey of personal evolution. This is empowering you through innovative and unconventional means. You as an Aquarius rising are naturally innovative. You're naturally unconventional. You are the star that stands out from the crowd. You have the thinking of a humanitarian, and you're always thinking about the group as a whole, but you are unique within that group and you stand out. So over the next 20 years, with Pluto being in your sign, in your first house, it's really going to be bringing out that innovative, unique, unconventional mind and personal self-expression of Aquarius, of you, of yourself. So Aquarius, if you want to know more about what's going on with you this month, and you want to take a deeper dive, check out my January 2024 horoscopes in the playlists. Okay, Pisces rising. So Pluto has been in your 11th house, or the house of community, of neighborhood, of collaborative association, of social circles, of your group dynamics for the past 15 years. So Pluto has been making its way through that sign, bringing you profound transformations and deep introspective experiences within your friendships, within your social circles, within any kind of group situation that you belong to. This has brought some major deep shifts, some upheavals, some revelation, and some changes within that situation in your life. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Pisces. So, as Pluto moves on into Aquarius, where it will be for the next 20 years, it's moving into your 12th house. The 12th house is a very psychic, very spiritual house. It's the last house at the end of the zodiac before we're rebirthed into our first house again. So it is the literal house of shedding your mundane skin, of letting go of the baggage from before and really taking a deep dive into who you are on a spiritual and soulful level. This is the house of solitude. It's a house where you might feel the need over the next 20 years to be alone, to take time to be with your own thoughts and to really study yourself and to learn about your own self on a deep, deep level that is not the mundane human level. Now, the 12th house is also the house of enemies and self-destruction. So this 20-year period might bring up some themes of people who you may feel are that enemy energy, or what I think more often happens is that you are your own worst enemy and you experience or participate in self-destructive behavior. This is the house of addictions. So perhaps there is some addictive behavior, some mundane physical behavior that you've been doing to destroy your own body that you're going to become quite familiar with in this 12th house over the next 20 years. And this is an opportunity to grow and evolve from that situation, from any sort of self-destructive behavior. This movement through the 12th house is going to bring deep transformation and potential spiritual rebirth for you, Pisces rising. You being Pisces rising, the 12th house is the natural Piscean house. So this is really amplifying and enhancing that Piscean energy for you that is natural within you. So as hidden aspects of your individual psyche are brought to light, this is fostering some positive evolution and some real major breakthroughs in collective consciousness when it comes to spirituality and your soul self. So Pisces, if you want to take a deeper dive into what's going on for you in January and hear more about this situation and find out what else is going on with other planets, then watch your January 2024 horoscope that you can find in my playlists. Okay, now, as I promised you before at the beginning of the video, I said I would talk a little bit about the Pluto Generations. So I'm going to give you some dates, but I'm also going to put up a graphic that you can, of course, screenshot or whatever, write down the dates for yourself if you're interested in this information. So first, let's start out with Pluto Generations. So we're just going to keep it on the Pisces board here because that's what I have it on. So from 1937 to 1958, Pluto was in Leo. These people are known as creative and expressive individuals. Now, of course, that is a very general and broad term, but if we were to take a deep dive into this Leo generation of folks born between 1937 and 1958, we may find that there is an overarching theme of creativity and expressive individuals. And I'm just thinking offhand, 37, 47, 57, so, and then 58, 60, 70. So like people who were in their 20s in the late 50s to the late 70s, I mean, that was a time of major creativity and major individual expression. That is where we get the sexual revolution. Music changed, film changed, art changed, so much changed when this generation of Pluto in Leo became adults. So now moving on, from 1957 to 1972, Pluto was in Virgo. Now this generation is known to have a focus on health, practicality, and service. Well, those people became of age, became young adults from the late 70s to the early 90s. And for me, looking at health, practicality, and service, well, that right away brings up the AIDS crisis. It brings up world feeding programs like We Are the World and things like that happened, farm aid, things like the Band Aid. I don't know if you're old enough to remember that. I am, but these were very significant things in that generation. Now, I'm just pulling things off the top of my head here, so, you know, if you want to go and research things about this generation, feel free. I'm just trying to just get a little bit of an idea about what these generations are, because we are shifting into a whole new Pluto in Aquarius generation here this year, by the end of this year. Okay, so anyway, so moving on. If you were born between 1971 and 1984, you are the Pluto in Libra generation. So this generation is known to have the themes of relationship, balance, and justice. Now this is my generation. So 91, so 91 to 2004, people who became adults between the late 90s and the early 2000s. These people are focused on relationships, balance, and justice, and I see that. We see this is the generation that really pushed for gay marriage rights, LGBTQ. This is a term that has kind of come to light within that generation. Balance and justice. This is the generation that had riot girls, and, you know, we really push forward a lot of rebellion, a lot of we're not going to take this old school way anymore. Now moving on. From 1983 to 1995, Pluto was in Scorpio. So Pluto was home. So this Pluto energy is Scorpio energy is amplified. So babies born between 1983 and 1995, these are people known to be transformational. That word transformational, what does that indicate? This is also a group of people who tend to be very intense. There is an intensity about this generation. This generation is also very much attuned to deep emotional exploration. Now, I know this generation is just a little bit younger than me. I have younger siblings and cousins who fall into this category, as well as younger friends who fall into this category. And I mean, this really is the generation that brought both transgender identity as well as alternative identities to the forefront, and that's such a Scorpio thing. They are intense. Anybody who knows people from this generation, they're pretty intense people. And, you know, they're this is the generation that has really brought out our need to explore our mental health a lot more. So this deep emotional exploration comes out. Now, from 1995 to 2008, Pluto was in Sagittarius. Now, I have children in this generation. This generation of people is known for their exploration, for their belief systems, and for global perspectives. Now, I know from my experience with this generation, being the mother of this generation, these people, these children, they are interested in more world exploration. I mean, this is the generation that we see living in vans. This is the generation that started, I'm just going to, vlog my lifestyle and travel around the world and make money that way. That is a very Sagittarius personal aspect. That is a very Pluto in Sagittarius aspect. Pluto brings us power, personal power. So wherever Pluto is for this generation is where they're going to find their personal power. So Sagittarius is all about exploration, belief systems, and global perspectives. Well, we see that going on right now with the generation of kids in this group. They are very different and they are connected. They're wholly connected with the people around them. This is the generation that grew up with social media. They don't really remember. They were at least my children were very young when social media came about, so they've kind of had it their whole lives. These children have had the ability to connect with people on a global level their whole life. As I talked about in the beginning of the video, Pluto has a tendency to jump back and forth over an ingress when it changes signs. So therefore, that 1 to 2 year period when it's changing signs, it tends to go back and forth. So people born between 2008 and roughly 2004, they are going to be known for their power structures and societal changes. And we see that already. In 2008, kids that were born in 2008, they're already teenagers. And if you ask anybody who's a teacher right now or anybody who has interaction with younger people, they're very different and they challenge power. They challenge authority. They challenge power structures all the time. So Pluto being in Capricorn for them, this is where they find their power. Their power is stepping up to authority. Their power is in structures, in changing structures, and their power is in this transformational death and rebirth energy, especially when it comes to a societal level. Now, beginning last year in 2023, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but moving on into 2024, this is when we start seeing Pluto in Aquarius babies. Pluto in Aquarius babies are going to be occurring for the next 20 years, so we're bringing in a long, strong generation of Pluto in Aquarius babies. The Aquarian age is upon us. Aquarian people have already started being born. Some of the earliest Aquarian babies are about to have their first birthday. So from 2023-24 until 2044, 20 years from now, Pluto's going to be in Aquarius. These babies that are born under this sign are going to be known for their innovation. Pluto is all about innovation. These babies are going to be known for technology. This innovation and this technology is going to bring major societal changes. By the time we reach 2043, and the earliest babies who are being born right now, who were born last year, are starting to reach their early adulthood, we're going to start really reaping the reward of their innovation, their technology, and their societal changes. Okay, so briefly, last thing about when these babies are going to be born, when we start seeing the Aquarian babies. So last year, from March 23rd of 2023 to June 21st, babies born between March 23rd of 2023 and June 1st of 2023, this was the first wave of Aquarian babies. First wave of Pluto in Aquarius was from March 23rd to June 1st. So if you have a baby born then, or if you know of a baby born then, that group of children is the first Pluto in Aquarius babies. Now, on June 1st, 2023, Pluto was retrograde, and it moved back into Capricorn. So from June 1st until January 21st of 2024, this is a long period again, we have Pluto and Capricorn babies. So these are some of the last Pluto and Capricorn babies. They're not the very last, but they are some of the last. Second to last. Now, from January 21st until September 24th, Pluto will be back in Aquarius. So babies born between January 21st, coming up in just a couple weeks, or next week, until September 2nd. So all babies born from here all through the summer, from now until September, these will be the second wave of Aquarius babies, the second wave of Pluto in Aquarius babies. It's a longer stretch than that first wave. On September 2nd, Pluto will be retrograde again, and it makes its last entry into Capricorn once more. Last time it's going to go that backwards through the door. Last time in our lifetimes that we'll ever feel that movement again. But that means that from September 2nd until November 19th, these will be the last ever Pluto in Capricorn babies. That's it. Come November 19th, 2024, until January of 2044, so just over 20 years, all babies born will be Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto will have retrograde. There will be babies born with Pluto retrograde, but it's never going to reach back into a Capricorn again in our lives. So that last blast of Capricorn babies, September 2nd to November 19th, and then from November 19th on, for the next 20 years, they will be Pluto in Aquarius babies. Innovative, technologically advanced, and societal shifting babies. People, humans. So if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate everybody who has subscribed so far. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the likes, and thank you for all of your kind words and encouragement and just wonderful things. And thank you for being here and watching. I'm so glad that you are, and I really hope to see you next time. I will be posting my February horoscopes in just a couple weeks. See you then.